Hi there, fans and friends. It's time for that review that you've all been waiting for, my review of the movie Wonder Woman. Now, I know I wrote on Facebook a little bit about it and my views on it, but I decided to go through step by step in case some people missed through the Facebook conversation why I have the feelings that I do about it. So, I was kind of eager to see Wonder Woman because, you grew up with Wonder Woman, you grew up with Xena, you grew up with these powerful women, and finally there was going to be a superhero movie that was going to be, women-centric, and she's going to kick some butt, and oh my god, and yay. And I watched it with my friend Craig, and we sat there, and our reaction basically was, yeah, that was an actual word, PTLH. It was not so good. I actually wrote a list here, like I normally do, of my feelings about stuff. That way I don't miss anything. I tried my best to like it. I really did. I know people think that I just don't like anything, but that's not true. One of my friends actually mentioned that I tend to think too much when I watch stuff. And when you give me something that you need to think about, I'm going to think about it. If you give me a movie like Pixels, I'll just watch Pixels and I'll just enjoy it. And it'll just be crazy stuff. You give me something like Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, you just sit back, you watch it. It's going to be ghosts in Manhattan and, Slimer everywhere. And cool, you just watch it. When you give me something that's supposed to be in-depth and a little intellectual, and then it's not, I'm going to have a problem with it. So let's go right into it. And we'll talk a little more about what I don't like about Wonder Woman. So first thing, now a lot of you know, because a lot of you have hopefully read my books, that I write alternate history. And with alternate history, there has to be a formula to writing alternate history. If you don't use this formula, alternate history is going to suffer. What that formula is the history has to be accurate. Okay, if you're writing in alternate history, you're writing in a time period, you have to have that time period consistent with what really happened. Otherwise, anything that you throw into it, it's not going to make sense. And that's one of the problems with Wonder Woman, is it takes place in World War I, which it took me a little bit to figure out was World War I, but it took place in World War I. Okay, fine. The whole premise was about the mustard gas, and at the end of the movie, they destroy the mustard gas. Mustard gas never gets used in World War I. Sorry, mustard gas gets used in World War I. It really was a huge alternate history flaw. And that bothered me. It made no sense. Alternate history can work. It can work with superheroes. Captain America worked very well with alternate history. He was put in a time period. There were Nazis. It made sense. And the alternate history was correct. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, same thing. And actually, they really did. I really liked Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, because they actually delved a little deeper and gave a reason why the son died. That was very good, and you weren't expecting it. That's the kind of thing you need with alternate history. If you want to make up a story and not, have it in a certain time frame, but don't mention the time frame, then I guess you could do it. Anne Rice did alternate history too, vampires throughout the whole time period. It has to work. It has to make sense. Otherwise, it fails. And Wonder Woman failed. The other thing, which a lot of people know, I am very big into it, is that mythology. Now, I'm not saying the mythology has to be exact, because if it's mythology. So some people just see it as mythology. Some people see it as religion. You could kind of tweak it, though. It's okay. I actually am a big fan of Hercules and Xena. And the mythology was all over the place. Disney's Hercules, they changed the mythology for a reason, because you don't want little kids knowing that Zeus was a slut. That's fine. If the mythology makes sense, play with it all you want. This did not make sense. Ares gets all pissed off and kills all the gods. And now all of a sudden he's the only god left. Makes no sense, because now all of a sudden he has all the powers in the world, and he causes war. But if he has the power to cause war and they killed off all the other gods, there could be nothing. Because following that logic that he has the control of war, you can't have war without strategy. And he killed off Athena, who's the goddess of strategy. Can't have war without weapons, and he killed off Hephaestus, who's the goddess of weaponry. And then at the end, where love conquers war, yeah, he killed Aphrodite, goddess of love. So how can love conquer war if all the other gods are dead? Huge gap in the mythology side of things. And then, to go back into the alternate history, love conquers war. Right, it was World War I. There's a little war that happens after World War I that Captain America covers. So if love conquered war, war should never happen ever again because Ares is dead. But no, it does. So another big flaw in the middle of everything. Okay. I'm trying to read my handwriting. My handwriting's all over the place. So that's part of it. Now let's get into the other part. So, okay, let's say they screwed up the mythology, they screwed up the history. You know, sometimes if you have really good characters and, you know, a really good story, you could kind of save the whole thing. No. The story, the basic story was fine, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But their take on this story was not so good. First of all, huge gap in the storyline. The Germans find the island, that name just went out of my head, the Amazons Island, okay? They go through the invisibility barrier. They go in with battleships and soldiers, and they find the island, and they fight the Amazons, and then they leave. What? They're not gonna leave. They just found this island that no one knew about. Did the Germans take their battleships and their planes and everything, and off they go back to Germany, and no one touches this island again. Huge flaw in the storyline, okay? The secondary characters, oh my god, what a waste of time they were. I'm sorry, the native tribesmen, American Indian, whatever, I don't like the term American Indian, I don't like the term Native American, the tribesmen that didn't do anything. Because if he actually did stuff like how they usually show a Native American doing stuff, then it wouldn't be against PC, you know, if he did tracking or if he, you know, heard sounds or that. So he was useless. The redheaded sniper who didn't shoot. I'm sorry. You're going to have a redheaded sniper. Yes, I have this obsession with redheadeds. But you're going to use a sniper. He could be hardcore drinking. He could be crazy. But the whole point of a sniper is that when it comes down to it, he points the gun and he shoots. Now, that's the whole point in real life. And it's also the point to have a sniper in a movie. To have a sniper in a movie and he doesn't shoot, and they're like, that's okay because you sing. Blah. Okay? And then there was the Middle Eastern guy who they put every stereotype under the sun on him, but that's okay. And he was the only one who kind of had some vibe, but really, they were pretty useless, these people. So that didn't help anything. Oh, and Ares. Okay, fine. It took some people a little while to figure out who the bad guy was. If you paid attention, you knew right away it wasn't the guy that you thought it was. Oh, and by the way, apparently, if you're at a fancy thing, a fancy event, and you want to hide your sword, just put it down the back of your backless dress and dance with the bad guy, because he's never going to notice this gigantic sword sticking down your back. That's never going to happen. But anyway, I knew who the bad guy wasn't because it was too obvious. And then they show who the bad guy was, and okay, fine, whatever, it was this, you know, bad guy, whatever, it was the British guy, whatever. Oops, spoiler, sorry. Anyway, it was the British guy, whatever. But then he turns into Ares, and he doesn't change. He's still the British guy, except he puts on a Spartan helmet and a suit of armor, which made no sense to me. Because he's Ares. What does he need a suit of armor for? He is god of war. There was no need for the suit of armor. And in the world of CGI, he should have changed into something a lot bigger, a lot scarier. Even in Xena, before, I'm trying to think if it was before they had Kevin Smith, the other Kevin Smith, play Ares, or if it was Hades. But they had this character and he had the glowing eyes. Even that, just something to make this guy seem supernatural. Instead, it was a guy with a mustache in a inconsistent suit of armor. But fine, that was horrible too, because at least when we watch other movies, and I'm sure it wasn't Dr. Seuss, Constantine was pretty good, and I didn't do a review on that yet, but Constantine was pretty good, but Satan in Constantine was an excellent portrayal of him. That's my point. Aries was not worth the wait. Okay. Now, like I was saying before, the storyline had potential. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about the actress who played Wonder Woman. I'm not saying anything bad about the actor who played Steve, right? Steve. The actress who played Wonder Woman was good. She was pretty. She was, she had the accent, da 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 da, and they had her doing flying kicks constantly so they could show her legs wide open in slow motion. Whatever. She wasn't Linda Carter, so, it just, I don't know, she was there. And she didn't have a lot to work with, and that was the problem. You need to have, if you're going to give this new actress a chance to wow, you need to have her in a good storyline. You need to have her, with good characters, a good background. And the reason why I'm saying this, 2 words, Fifth Element. Remember that movie? Same exact storyline. Same exact thing, except it was in the future. It was cheesy. It was bright colors. There were good background characters, secondary characters. And in the end, when love conquered all, it actually happened. It made sense. This, they kind of just took it and went, oh, well, it's Wonder Woman. We really don't have to think too far because people are going to love it because it's Wonder Woman. Well, sorry. I know a lot of people are going to bash me on it, as I've been bashed already, that, I'm never happy, I can't be pleased. Like I said, put me in front of something like Pixels. I'm a happy camper. If you're going to make something serious, if you're going to try to give it depth, if you're going to give it background characters, if you're going to do something with a huge storyline, like World War I, it's a huge plot, you gotta make it good. I'm sorry, the Germans still haven't gone back to the island. Stuff like that just really ruins the story. And unfortunately, there was a lot of stuff like that that just made me sit there. And I swear, Craig and I sat there for the whole time. We both wanted to stop it halfway through, but we were kind of hoping to see the bad guy. And even that just completely fell short. So that's it for now. I know this wasn't one of the naughty ones. This was a calm one, but you saw how I felt about it. So that's all for now. So if you can't be goody naughty, and if you must be naughty, be safe. All right? Bye.